Starting an online business in 2026 doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, when you strip away all the noise, it's actually pretty straightforward. So I'm going to walk you through the actual steps in order so that by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to do first, what to do next, and what to ignore completely for now. So if you don't know me, I'm Jen. I run WEN, the Women's Entrepreneurial Network, and I help women turn what they already know into a real business. So let's get into it. Right, so before we get into the steps, I just need to address the thing that trips most people up before they even start. And it's the mindset thing. Most people approach starting a business like this. I need to build a platform, grow an audience, post content, get followers, and then at some point, the money's going to appear. And that path, it's long, it's exhausting, and it puts off the part that actually matters, which is getting paid for months or sometimes even years. So here's the shift that I want you to take from this. I want you to stop thinking, how do I build a business, and start thinking, what problem do I solve and who has that problem right now? The online businesses that work, especially in the early stages, are built around solving a specific problem for a specific person, not a general audience, not a broad topic, just one problem for one person done really well. Everything else, so the content, the audience, the income streams, that can come after you've got that locked in. So I spoke to a woman recently who's been building her business for about 8 months. She's been posting regularly, she creates really nice content, and she's managed to gain around a few hundred followers. But she's got no clients, she's got no income, and when we really dug into it, she'd never actually been clear on who she was helping or what specific results she was getting them. But the moment that she actually got specific, well, guess what? She made her first sale inquiry within 2 weeks. Same person, same knowledge, just a clear problem and a clear person. So once you've got that mindset locked in, the next thing to figure out is your offer. And that is what you're actually going to sell. And I want to make this really simple because people can massively overthink it and stall here. So you need 3 things to have a sellable offer. The first one being who you help, so a specific type of person. Next, you need the problem that you're actually solving, so something that they are actively frustrated by or trying to fix at the moment. And then lastly, you need the result that you're going to get them, so what their life or business is going to look like after they've worked with you. And when you can put those 3 things together in a sentence, you have an offer. And I want to stress that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to be doesn't need to have a fancy name or a sales page. It just needs to be clear enough that when the right person hears it, they think, yes, this is for me, this is what I need. And in 2026, the market is crowded, so generic doesn't cut through the noise. So one of the WEN Business Club members is a former HR manager, and she could have set herself up as a general career coach, which is pretty broad and quite competitive. So what she done instead was she niched down to helping women returning to work after a career break. And she taught them how to reposition themselves and land interviews within 90 days. So if you notice that's a specific problem for a specific person and she's promising a specific result. So her first client found her through a single LinkedIn post because the offer described that person's exact situation really precisely, and it felt like it had been written for her because it had been. Okay, so you know who you're helping and you know what problem you solve. Now you need to decide how you're going to deliver it. And that is what I call the business model decision. So for anyone starting out, I'd narrow it down to 3 options. The first one is service or freelance work. So you do the thing for the client, writing, design, marketing, admin, finance, whatever the skill is. And this is your fastest route to income. So effectively you trade time for money here, but when you're starting out, that's completely fine. So the next option is coaching or consulting. And this is where you guide the client through a process or give them your expertise in a structured way. And this works really well if you have professional experience or have solved a problem yourself that others are currently trying to solve. And then number 3 is digital products. So this is where you package your knowledge into something. So this could be a template, a guide, a course, something that people buy without you actually needing to be there to help them. This takes a little bit longer to set up and sell without an audience. So usually best as a second income stream, not a starting point. But my honest advice is if you're starting from scratch in 2026, start with a service or coaching offer. It's going to get you paid the fastest, it's going to teach you the most about your market, and it's going to give you the foundation to build everything else from. So there's a woman I know that had a background in project management, and so she started a done for you service which helped businesses set up their internal systems. She then managed to get 3 clients in 3 months. And then what she done was used everything that she'd learned from those clients, so what they'd asked her, what they were struggling with, what they kept getting wrong, to create a digital template pack that she now sells passively alongside her service work. So she didn't actually start with the digital product. She started with the service, got paid, got smart, and then added the product. And I found that that's the order that really works. So here's where a lot of people lose weeks and sometimes even months. They decide that they need a logo, a website, a full brand identity, an email marketing platform, a booking system, social media profiles on every platform, all before they've had a single client. Here's what you actually need before your first client. So you need a clear offer, which you've already worked out. You need a way for people to contact you, so an email address, a DM, or a simple booking link. You need a way to get paid, so PayPal, Stripe, or bank transfer set up. This is going to take you 10 minutes to set up. And you need a way to tell people what you do. So one clear post, one conversation, one page. And that's it. Everything else, so the website, the branding, the automations, this can come once you've got proof that people actually want what you're offering. So my advice is build the thing, sell the thing, and then make it pretty. So the question that I get asked more than any other is, how do I actually get clients when I'm starting from zero and nobody knows who I am? And the honest answer is not Instagram. It's not going viral, and it's not a launch strategy. Your first client almost always comes from your warm network. And these are the people that already know you, they trust you, or they've seen your work before. So think former colleague, people that you've helped previously, friends who know what you do, or members of a community that you're a part of. So the move is pretty simple, and I know it feels a bit scary, but it's just this. You need to tell people what you're doing clearly without apologizing for it. And that means one post, one email to 5 people, or one message to a former colleague. So you're not bothering anyone here, and if that is how you feel, you definitely need to lose that mindset. What you're doing is you're telling people about a problem that you can solve, and someone in your network or someone they know is definitely going through that problem right now. Okay, so let's pull this all together into something that we can actually use, because one of the biggest reasons people don't start is that they don't know what to do and in what order. So here's a simple 90-day plan that you can follow. So on month 1, you're gonna get clear and get 1 client. So you're gonna look in your offer, tell your warm network, you're gonna have conversations, and your only goal this month is your first paying client, or at the very minimum, your first real conversation with someone who fits your ideal customer. So month 2 is where we deliver brilliantly and build quietly. So here you're going to focus on delivering a great result for the first client. And while you're doing that, start building the basics. So now you're going to think about building a simple 1-page website or a link in bio. You're also going to start thinking about creating your email list. And you're going to commit to showing up on one content channel where your ideal person hangs out. And then in month 3, this is where you're going to get consistent and start to scale. So here you're going to start asking your clients for testimonials. Even if it's just that one client, we're going to get a testimonial from them. You're going to start creating content that reflects the problem you solve. And you're going to begin thinking about what a second income stream might look like. Because once the first thing is working, this is a good time for you to actually think about creating the next thing that's going to generate you income. So 90 days, one focused move at a time, and that's it. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You just need a starting point and the commitment to keep showing up. I've seen this exact process play out dozens of times inside WEN. Women who came in saying, I've been thinking about this for 2 years, and then left 3 months later with their first client, their first testimonial, and an actual business, not just an idea. The ones who got there fastest weren't the ones with the best skills or the biggest networks. They were the ones who stopped waiting until everything was perfect and just started with the next right thing. Now, if you've been watching this thinking, okay, I get the steps, but I honestly don't know how I can do this on my own, I want to tell you about something that might genuinely help. So the WEN Business Club is a membership community that I built specifically for women at this exact stage. And that's the starting out stage. Not the I already have a business and I want to scale it stage, but the I know that I want to do this, but I don't know how to make it real stage. So inside you get a structured roadmap to your first paying client, a library of practical resources, There's no fluff, there's no padding, and you also get a community of women who are doing it alongside you. So when you get stuck on the offer, or you're not sure how to price, or you post something and it doesn't land and you want to talk it through, well, there are people in this community who get it because they're actually going through the same thing. So at the moment, it's $27. We are having a founding member launch. The price will be increasing to $47 a month. Of course, there's no pressure, there's no hard sell. If you're at the stage where you want more structure and less going it alone, I'm gonna leave the link below in the description so that you can have a look. Right, so before you go, I would genuinely love to know where you're at right now. So are you at the very beginning, still trying to figure things out, or still trying to decide what your business would even be? Or maybe you've got an idea, but you've been stuck on actually starting it. So whatever it is, drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and it genuinely helps me to make videos that are actually useful to you and not just what I think you want to hear. All right, let's bring it all together. So if you're starting an online business in 2026, here's what actually matters. Stop trying to build a platform and start trying to solve a problem for one specific person. Also, get your offer clear. So who you help, what problem you solve, and also the result that you get for them. Pick a simple business model to start with. So this could be service or coaching. This is gonna get you paid the fastest. And don't get lost in the setup. So you need far less than you think before actually getting your first client. And I also want to remind you that your first client is likely going to be in your warm network. So don't be afraid to tell people what you do clearly and without apologizing for it. And then lastly, be sure to follow the 90-day plan that I mentioned earlier, one thing at a time in the right order. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to know the next right step and then be brave enough to take it. So if this was helpful and you want to go deeper on the offer side of things and learn how to actually package what you know into something people will buy, well, I've got a whole video on that, and it's the next natural step from here. And it'll also make everything else a lot clearer.